Hey there, in today's video, I am just showing you how I mat my 8x10. I take 8x10 mats and then kind of show you the process that I go through kind of from beginning to end. So I have the paper that I'm gonna mat. I kind of sort through them. I then decide some I like, some I don't, some need to be cut down. Then I name them, then, you know, each step of the process I'm kind of showing you from beginning to end. And here's what I'm gonna say about today's video. Listen, I'm cracking myself up. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words. So here's what I usually do. I film something, make a video of it, and then I go back and I tell you what I'm doing. Kind of doing a little intro, which is what I'm doing right now. But in today's video, I feel like I was really stumbling over my words, and you guys know how that sometimes I do that. And maybe I'll be able to edit it out and maybe I won't, but just bear with me if I'm saying the wrong word, if I'm not completing my sentences, because I am prone to do that. But here's what's happening. I'm getting ready, gearing up for a holiday art market, and it is in the middle of November, which is only, you know, not that far away. And so I got to get going. I've got to get stuff done. So I just thought, well, I'm going to be doing that. I might as well just take you along and show you the process. I also have another video, which I will link below, where I showed, maybe this was a year ago, or yeah, maybe a year ago at this time, where I did 5x7s, so smaller size. And I've modified the process a little bit for these larger ones, just given that I felt like some of it was a little bit redundant on the 5x7s. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention, if you are still listening to me and have not clicked out, because it's like, what is this lady talking about? The other thing I wanted to mention was, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, there is a link below in the description box. Over the course of the next few months, I'm hoping to just give the subscribers some benefits, whether it's a discount code, whether it's, I don't know, I just have some things up my sleeve that I'm going to do. Now, here's the thing. My newsletter goes out once a month. That's it. So you would get it 12 times a year. If you want to unsubscribe after reading it once, you can. The email that you get will have like some, if I'm going to give something, a discount or something, it'll be in that email. It will not be on the blog post, which is attached to the newsletter. So the newsletter goes out, there is a blog post attached to it. So if you are interested in, maybe you're not, but if you are interested, today I'm like, in hearing a little bit more about me, here's what happens. In the blog, and you can go to my website right this minute, you can click out of here and go to my website, pamhammerling.com, and click blog, and it will tell you it's once a month. There's just stuff that's going on. Usually I include, you know, a few things about art. Obviously, this is art related. There are some personal things, a book I've read, a recipe I've tried, sometimes I write about something that I think is funny, and maybe maybe you do, and maybe you do not think it's funny. Just different things that are happening in my family. And so anyway, if you're interested in subscribing for potential discounts or special things down the road, feel free to do that, and you can always unsubscribe at any time. So that was a long and roundabout way of saying, if you'd like to subscribe, please subscribe. If you don't, then don't. But you know me, I am never short on words, and yeah, there's a lot of words coming out of me all the time. Just ask my family. They're like, whoa, okay, stop now. As you guys are saying, stop now and get on with the video. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. A few videos ago, I showed you that I was working on painting these 8x10s. Well, they're actually not 8x10. The mat is 8x10. The opening is 5x7. I was painting these to go inside this mat. So I've gone over these this big stack multiple times. I keep deciding, are they going to work? Are they not going to work? And so I'm going through it one more time. Here's the thing. I have this holiday art market that I'm doing, and I want to have smaller items. It's just for an afternoon, and I wanted to use up some of the papers and things that I've had for a while, and put them in a way that could be easily sold. And then you could purchase these and then put them in your own frame, in your own 8x10 frame. So that's what's happening today. Now, obviously I have this one, and you can see it is, all dirty, essentially. And so I've just been using this one to kind of decide, is this working or not working? And here's the thing, it's very personal. So I might say, this is not working, and you might say, oh my gosh, I love that. So each thing we paint, we get to decide, like, is this exciting enough? Is this cool enough? Or is it boring? And that's kind of what I've been trying to decide as I've gone through this stack over and over again. I thought I'd just show you as I'm standing here, going over this, is we each get to decide. And for me, sometimes it's like, you know what, I like it, but I don't love it. And is it worth the trouble of putting it behind a mat, naming it, putting it in cellophane? And, if I don't fully resonate with it, how can I expect someone else to fully resonate with it? So I'm just kind of explaining the process that I'm going to be going through. And so what I'm going to do today is go through the stack again. I have put collage on it. I have put oil pastel on it. Well, I think I have used even soft pastel, all the different things. So the ones that I decide that are ready, I am going to, if they need spray, I'm going to do a spray over the top to seal the oil pastel, if it has the oil pastel. If it's just acrylic, it's fine. And the only reason I would do that is if there were some shiny spots and some not shiny, or there were two different mediums, or if I wanted to also seal in if there was some charcoal underneath that I felt like hadn't been sealed. So then I'll have a couple different stacks, but I just kind of wanted to show you my process. Now, here's the thing. I have done something similar with 5x7. So this would fit into a 5x7 frame. This is 4x6. And basically what I did was it's a two-part, there's a board back, and then there's the frame or the mat. And this one I can see has yellowed over time. I've had it, I'm really working at, okay, oh my gosh, do not leave this in a spot. I live in Seattle. We don't have that much sun, do we? But I guess enough light will discolor. So this one is discolored and I can't use it, which is okay, because I look at this and I think, this is not very exciting. It needs something else on it. And if I think it does, then, obviously the person who would maybe purchase it would go like, okay, it needs something else. It's a little too boring. So anyway, what I did, and I have a whole video on that, and I can link that below for making these, is these were made on cardboard. I wrote my name, I wrote the name of it and the date, and so these were 2023. And then I did what they call kind of a hinge top. It's not taped on the bottom, it's just taped on the top. So it's taped on the top. The board goes with it, and this whole part goes into a cellophane bag. I also have a sticker that I put on the back with my name, and that it's mixed media on cardboard, and the day or the year. So, and then these I was selling a few years ago at a holiday market that I was at, and then also I've sold these at when I do like an art walk, and my stuff is up in a cafe or coffee shop or something like that. So these are great for that because they're easy for someone to take. They're affordable. Most of these aren't I don't even remember what I was charging for these, but not very much. And the 8x10s will be a little bit more, but still very affordable if you were looking for some kind of original art. And so I'm hoping at the holiday market, a few people are interested. So what I'm gonna do is go through these. These smaller pieces will be fine like this. I can actually, let me show you. I can actually put them on where I would like it to go, and then turn it over and then tape it across the top, because it may not be exactly even. It may be, as I move it around, I have a little bit of leeway. You want to find what part resonates and the composition that you think is best. So these will not need to be cut down. They are already the correct size. These larger ones, I'm going to have to, this is like fabric. These are smaller. These smaller, here, these larger ones, I just want to show you a larger one, if I can get it here. These larger ones will have to be cut down. So once I figure out the composition, say it's like this, obviously there's too much, so I'm gonna have to cut off the top and then use the tape and do kind of a hinge across the top. And then my other goal is I do like to name, even though these are very, these are just a matted, they're not on canvas. I do feel like any piece of original art, I do like to name. And so that is a process for me as well. And so I will write that across the back. And then of course I will sign each piece, but I won't probably sign them until I have them where they are on the mat. So I know that my signature will show up inside this framing part here. So I just kind of wanted to show you what I was working on today. It's not going to be anything too exciting, but I'm going to fast forward and as I go through here. And here's the thing, off to the side, I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of talking today, but I have the clean, I'm going to move the box over real quick. The clean box. And by that I mean, oh my gosh, I'm scared to touch these because I have wiped down this tabletop like 6 times, because if these get dirty, then I can't use them. So I'm being extremely careful. I want to, once I mount them, once I determine that I'm going to put them behind the mat, then I want to do that and put them in the sealed, the cellophane, so that they do not get dirty. Because if your space is anything like mine, there's dust, there's charcoal, there's all kinds of things that just want to ruin a perfectly good mat, and actually including my fingers. So I have done nothing today yet to get myself dirty. And obviously if they get dirty, they get dirty, but I'm trying to, avoid any more of these mats getting destroyed, so that, I'm not just paying for nothing. So, okay, I'm just gonna go through this. I'm gonna let you watch the process as I decide what is I'm gonna do that in fast forward, and then if I have to cut any, and I'll show you just kind of how I decide. And I'm curious as I'm going through and I have the no pile and the yes pile. I know you guys always are like, oh my gosh, leave it, or this is fine the way it is, or I like that one. I love it because we all have such different opinions about art, and that's just what makes it so personal. So, okay, let's get started with that. All right, you saw these are the no's, these are the yeses. I probably will still try to do something with these, and I'm curious because I know some of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, I like some of these, and some of these I don't like. So again, I love that we all have our difference of opinion and that we all look at art differently. So anyway, at least this stack is getting thicker, it's getting bigger, so that is a good sign. So now what I'm going to do is this has oil pastel. I'm going to spray the ones with oil pastel, and then I'm going to or the ones with that have charcoal or something that might smear. And then I'm going to start mounting them, naming and mounting them. So instead of freehanding, I typically use this rotary cutter for everything, and I just find I can get a straighter edge and more accuracy. So I just thought I'd show you kind of what and again, you could measure this all out with a straight pencil or whatever. I tend to just kind of guesstimate based on where I want this to be, and I'm kind of leaning towards, I like the ladder to be off center onto the left side, but the dilemma is, do I want more of this or do I want more of the upper part? So I think I like it right about there. So I really do not need to cut that much off. Maybe 1/4 inch or inch off the top and a tiny bit on the bottom. So in this case, it's pretty simple. Sometimes it's going to be like really far to one side or the other, and then then there's a lot more work involved. So this measures about 10 inches. So I think I'm only going to go a 1/2 inch, and then I can look at that again on each side. And let's see, that was, about a 1/2 inch there too. Okay. And then I can look at that and see, is that going to be about, that's perfect. So then I'll just put my tape across the top, and I will show you that when I get there. So I'm going to do the rest of my pieces, and then we'll go on to the next step. I keep a book with words from, I don't know, poems or things that I'm reading, words that I think are interesting, just kind of lists of words. And it's a little weird, but what I do is often I reach for this when I'm looking to name my art, particularly usually my bigger canvases and things like that. I really make an effort, but I also like, naming these little ones that are going to go into, I think before I said my words, I always crack myself up because it's like, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant. But these are going to be matted. The other word I used is incorrect. But anyway, so I'm going to look through here, and then on the back, I'm just going to write my name. And I guess it doesn't really matter where, maybe more in the middle. And then the name of the piece. And the way I do it is I have this and I just start reading through. Does that look like laughter of water? Does it look like obscurity? Does it look like swaths of brown, bag of sorrow? I mean, prolific, all is silent. There's just tons and tons of words that at the moment I wrote down because they meant something to me. And then I can translate those to some kind of art piece later. Words have a lot of meaning, and I feel like for our art, it's really important to take the time to look at it and reflect, and then decide kind of how we want it to be named. Not everybody does that, but for me, it's very meaningful, and I find this process, even though it takes a little bit of time, very meaningful, and gives my work and not my art kind of more intention than just randomness. I guess I could number them, and sometimes I've done that. This particularly with my little 4x4 canvases. There's no place to write a name. So I just kind of put the date and my name on them. But for something that's large enough like this, I can have the name, and I think it is a good practice if you have the time and the wherewithal to do that. So I'm just going to get started with that, and I may or may not show you. I mean, that might be tedious. I think I've explained it enough, so I won't really go into any depth on showing you any more than that. A stack that are finished that I wrote the title, my name, the title, the date, and then I decided to go ahead and write what it was. Acrylic on paper, mixed media on paper. Typically on my canvases, when I use mixed media, I actually spell out what that is. So I might say paper, acrylic, and graphite on canvas or on paper. But in this case, I just decided to put mixed media because these are, they're smaller and a little more affordable, and so I didn't think they needed all the details. Now I'm already seeing like I'm getting dirt on these. So I have one ready to go. I have this small stack. I have a bunch over that I haven't finished, but for the sake of example, I just kind of want to show you the whole process that I go through. So I have a stack. Now I have this laid out, I think how I want it. I'm just going to get it perfectly. It gets a little bit tricky because when I tape it to the back, it may or may not be straight. Now, what I'm avoiding by when I put the acrylic on paper, what I noticed on these 5x7s that I did before, I wrote on here, but then I put a sticker as well. And I feel like that's a little bit redundant. If in general, I think as long as on the back of the art, it has, if I had written, mixed media on cardboard, it didn't need to have basically the same information twice. I think I was following an example by Bob Burridge, and this is what he showed how to do. And I think it's a great idea. It just is a little bit redundant. And if you're selling your stuff for a lot, I think this is a much more professional way for it to look. And I still might put a sticker on the back of this board. I'm just not 100% sure what I want to do. I think what's missing here is the title. And so I may insert a little piece that says that information inside the clear cellophane bag at the end, so that you can see, because even on this, it doesn't have the title. And I think the title can be very helpful in terms of setting a tone. This one, Common Thread. So if I had this was, let's say this was this, right? All under its mat, and then in the cellophane. And if in the back I inserted like a little card, which I think that's what I'm going to do, and it's just going to have the name, it'll have the same information is probably what I'll do, versus putting a sticker, which then doesn't indicate. And look, I've already got this one dirty. It's like, I can't, where is it coming from? Where's the smudge? But then maybe my hands have stuff on them. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like I'm going to ruin so many things just by touching. So, okay, let's go back to what we were doing, which is, and I have, I think it's called painter's tape. It's or artist tape, I think is what it's called. And I'll link it below because I have just recently bought some more. And so I'm going to do kind of a hinge like I mentioned earlier. So I have it like this. I'm going to carefully turn it over. And you can see it's not fully centered because I want it to be in the position where I want it to be. And obviously someone could take that off and, rearrange it or put it into something different. So I have the mat on and the mat board behind it. So the next thing I would do is take the cellophane sleeve and tuck it right in there so that, again, even though this one's already dirty, I'm gonna have to trade it out. It'll stay clean now. So yeah, so the point is put it in there, keep it safe, and just look how great that looks. Oh my gosh. So yes, I believe I will print out like a little card like that with my Pam Hammerling, the title of it, and the what I used. And even though it's redundant and it's on the back, I think it's important, and I think it just makes a better presentation. So anyway, that is the process that I go through for matting 8x10s. Basically, the 8x10 is the frame. The 5x7, it's the size inside. So your artwork has to fit, obviously. Okay, don't mind my stuttering, because as I was looking at this, I was like, is this really 5x7 the whole? But it isn't. I just measured it. It's 4.5 by 6.5. So I guess that's because if you had a 5x7 size, it would fit right in there. Obviously, everything that I am making right now is larger than that. So that's not a problem in general, but so just so you know, I will link these below if you're interested in getting those. And I think I feel like putting it behind a mat, it totally elevates the art. And then it's just an easy way to then purchase and then tuck that right into. I mean, I think that you can get obviously 8x10 frames anywhere on, and you can hang it on the wall. You could set it on a desk or whatever, or yeah, I don't know what else you would, I don't know what else you would do with it. But anyway, just wanted to just show you what I'm doing and what's currently happening. So no real examples today, other than it's a great if you have art that's sitting around on paper, even in your art journal that you absolutely love, pull that out. Obviously, get yourself the mat and tuck it into a frame, because it really, I think your basic art all of a sudden looks elevated when it's put. What do I want to say? When it's matted, it just looks so much better. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I appreciate you guys watching and following me along, and I want to just thank you for that. And as I'm stuttering over my words once again, and anyway, thanks again, and I will see you next time.